Guys, Willie Geist here with another episode of the Sunday Sit Down Podcast. My thanks as always for clicking and listening along. Man, am I excited this week because I am bringing you a conversation with an honest-to-goodness icon. It's a term that's overused. In this case, it applies. She is Reba McEntire. Come on, Reba McEntire. Let me get out of the way, and I'll let you listen to a conversation with Reba McEntire. She's got a new book out called Not That Fancy. I should tell you, she professes her love for the backyard game cornhole in the book, so she and I, in fact, did play a little cornhole as well. Here she is right now, Reba McEntire, on the Sunday Sit Down Podcast. It's so nice to see you, Reba. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks, Willie. Good to get to visit with you.
We got to get through the chit-chat so we can go throw the cornhole.
There you go.
That's really why we're here.
Well, of course. I'm all warmed up. I don't know about you, but...
You're here because you just wrapped up your latest tour, and you did it at Madison Square Garden. And I was surprised to hear it was the first time you'd ever played there. What was that experience like for you?
I went into It's Just Another Arena because it holds such history for me and my family. Grandpap roped there during the rodeo in the 30s. Daddy roped there during the rodeo in the 40s. And then to get to come in 2023 was just really emotional. And it felt like they were with us there at Madison Square Garden Saturday night.
That's an amazing part of the story, that your lineage of ropers, of champion ropers at rodeos, that they played there as well. Did you feel some of that when you walked into the building and you went out on stage?
I did. It was very, not creepy, not weird, but maybe warm. I felt them. And my two sisters, Alice and Susie, were there. And my son Shelby, and then my niece Chisholm McEntire was there. So McEntires are well represented.
So what is it like to play Madison Square Garden as an artist? We were talking a minute ago, you kind of feel the history of the place, you know who all's been there. Yeah. And any artist I talked to said there's just something a little bit different on that stage. Can you put your finger on what that is?
It's kind of like playing the Ryman Auditorium or Hollywood Bowl. The history that it has, it just exudes, the past and the people who've been there. Like you said, did you walk down the hall and see all the pictures of everybody who had performed there? And I did, and that was a little unnerving also. And then you walk out, God, I hope somebody shows up. And then you see your fans, your friends, your family, and it's just, it was a wonderful night. To get to work with the Isaacs, Terry Clark, this whole tour, it's been so much fun. And then to get to wrap it up in New York City, Madison Square Garden was just a dream come true. You've been doing this, selling out tours for some time now. So the people were going to be in the building. That's the good news. You knew they'd be there. Well, you never know. How do you describe the sensation of walking out on stage? Because you've done it so many times, to walk out there, see a full house, people singing songs back to you that you wrote in a little room somewhere many years ago. What does that feel like? The adoration or the acceptance. Everybody wants to be loved and accepted. I'm no different. I mean, we're up there on the stage, razzle dazzle, but we're very insecure people in the inside. So you do want people to show up. You do want people to love what you're doing. You want to be accepted. So to be on stage, and after the second song, the applause went on for a long time. And I got very emotional. I mean, I was crying, but the show must go on. So mascara down the face, whatever, you got to keep on going. And what was that emotion for you? Because you get those ovations a lot. What was the special part about that for you this time? Well, where we were, the history of the building. My family was there. And you're always more nervous when your family shows up because they know you inside out, all your flaws and everything. So it was a very emotional night. I was at sound check and went through my mind and kind of ran what I was going to say about the McEntire history at the Gardens. And that helped because I got that, that big old lump in your throat. I got over that a little bit. So it went smoothly. I was very grateful. You strike me as somebody who enjoys being out on tour because of the camaraderie with your band and with your crew. You talk about them all the time. Yeah. Is that part of what you love of being out there, that family that travels together? I do. This tour, I'm on a bus because I used to always fly, and I missed so much. going into noon to catering and everybody's in there and you visit and you stay longer than you probably should. You got to go take care of business and doing sound checks with my band and the crew. It's just a lot of fun. And these 3 acts, mine, Terry's, and the Isaacs, we gelled. I just absolutely had the best time.
And so now what do you do post-tour? Is there just a decompression that happens? You've been out there singing and grinding and traveling for a long time now. What does your life after the tour look like?
Well, it's going to be a few days of rest, sleep late, recharge, regroup, unpack, wash clothes.
They've been in there a while.
Yeah, just going back to normal life.
And one of the things you have coming up too is your book, Not That Fancy, which is a lot of fun and tells the story of your life and the things that you've sort of grown up with and accumulated over the years in terms of culture and life and family and everything else. Tell me about the idea for the book and what you want to say in it.
Well, I've done 2 books already. One was an autobiography and one was a little book of funny stories that I wanted to do. And then this one is, it's so different because it is showing pictures that my fans haven't seen before and recipes that they didn't know about that, thank goodness, it's some of the same recipes as my restaurant in Atoka, Oklahoma at Reba's place that's in the book. We kind of tag them up there at the top. So it's kind of bringing things together. We get to talk about the restaurant. We talk about the book. We talk about family, friends, how to throw a party that's not so fancy. That's my kind of party.
Yes.
I don't really care if everything matches or, sometimes I ask to use real plates instead of paper plates. But I love solo cups. So just not so fancy. You don't sweat the small stuff. Just go have a good time. That's the main thing I think that's the main message of the book. Don't not have a party because everything doesn't look right or you didn't have time to get this ready. Just go have fun.
Just get together the people you love, right? Whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
And have some solo cups.
And lots of solo cups.
That's
and a magic marker. Write your name on the solo cup. That way well, I got that from Mama. So at Thanksgiving, everybody wrote their name with a magic marker on their solo cup. And that way you didn't have to waste a lot of cups getting a new one. And you knew which one was yours. And next Thanksgiving, you can look for your cup because it's still there.
Oh, really? It stays. Okay, you keep it.
Yep.
Wash it out, put it up on the shelf.
I still wash solo cups.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. A little conservation, too. You write about your mom in the introduction to the book and what an influence she was on your life and on all these things that you write about. What was it like to incorporate her into the story and really to put up front, I got all this from her?
Yeah. Well, it was most important because it all started with her. Well, God given her the gift of singing and wanting to entertain. Well, she didn't get the opportunity. She wanted to go to California and sing with her best friend, but Grandpa said no. No, he and Grandma were sharecroppers and they needed help at home. And he didn't want his daughter running off to California. Mama was the one that taught Alice, Pake, and Susie and me to sing. And when we were off rodeoing, we didn't have a radio in the car. And so it was 4 kids in the back seat, roughhousing, and and so Mama would get us to sing to pass the time. And Susie, she still sings for a living. Pake does, and I do. Alice, she was more of the rodeo cowgirl. And she sings with us now, but she didn't back then as much. We were the singing McEntires.
Yes, you were.
Yep.
Going way back in Oklahoma when you lived on that ranch. And you were an honest to goodness rodeo girl. I mean, you competed.
Yeah.
So when did singing come in at first, or when did you realize, not that you could just sing in the back seat of the car, but I might be pretty good at this? Was there a moment you remember?
First grade.
Really?
Yeah. I sang Away in a Manger at the Christmas program there at Kiowa High School. And that was my first time behind a microphone. And to get attention, see, I was the third of 4 kids. I wasn't the oldest, the youngest, the only boy. I was in the third position, so you don't get much attention. And I wanted attention, and I figured out the best kind of attention I could get was when I would sing. Not running barrels, not playing basketball, but singing. That's when everybody kind of leaned forward and listened a little bit more. So that's what I kept striving for, because once you do get attention for doing something good, you want to do it again and again. And so I was in every program at school, 4-H club, Thanksgiving, Easter, whatever kind of program they had, I volunteered to sing.
So
I liked it.
6 years old. I mean, that takes a little courage to get up there at the high school, doesn't it?
Well, Mama was encouraging me, saying it'll be fine. You can do it. And so when you have that kind of help, you can just do about anything when you have that kind of support from your parents, somebody you trust and love so much.
So how did you balance that life on the ranch? Because I know you had to help out. You were basically one of the ranchers, right?
Yep.
You were an employee.
One of the hired hands.
Yeah, one of the hired hands. How did you balance all that work you had to do with this dream you had of singing?
Well, unfortunately, I wasn't smart enough to know that's really where I need to be, because I did want to be a world champion barrel racer. And Daddy was the one that said, why do you always want to do something you're not good at? I was like, oh, he means quit that stuff and stick with my singing. And it wasn't until years later when I realized I'm not that good of a barrel racer and I was donating more than I was winning that, just stick with it and move forward. And it took a while. I'm pretty hard-headed on some things. But timing is everything.
Yeah.
Everything happens for a reason. And it all kind of fell right into place.
Well, to that point, so the National Rodeo, I think in 1974, comes to Oklahoma City. You all go and you sing the national anthem. And as luck would have it, there's somebody sitting there who hears you and says, she's got it. What was the story that day? Well,
Red Stegall, a good friend of mine, Ken Lance, introduced me to Red while I was coming back from the bathroom to go up kind of like the crow's nest to sing the national anthem. And he was very nice, very tall. And Mama asked him later if there's any way that he could get us 3 kids in record deal. He said, Jackie, I'm really fighting for myself right now. Then he called her back. That was in December of 74. Called her back and he said, can you bring Reba down to Nashville? I've got some songs that I wrote with Glenn Sutton, Lynn Anderson's husband, and I would like for her to sing the demo and maybe we can pitch her around town. And so we did, and nobody was interested. Then they started pitching the songs, and Glenn Keener over at Polygram Mercury heard the songs. He said, don't care for the songs, but who's that girl singer? And that's how I got my contract.
And how old are you at that point?
21.
21 years old. So that's your first contract. And you think, okay, here we go. I've made it in Nashville. But it took a little while. It was kind of a slow burn. Is that fair to say? Baby steps,
slow burn. Yeah, I thought once you had a record on the radio, you're rich. You have a tour bus, big mansion. No, I was living in a $10 a month rent house in Oklahoma. Had to haul our own water. And I went from pickup trucks with campers on them and our horse trailers that we converted into kind of, scrape out the horse crap to put our amplifiers and sound system in to travel around and do my shows. I didn't get a bus till 82.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow. Not the glamorous life you'd heard about.
No.
Not then anyway. So when did things start to change for you, Reba? When did you, as you went through that process, when did you start to get to the point where, okay, some people are listening to my songs on the radio. I do have a tour bus now. How did that happen for you?
It was a huge learning curve because I knew nothing about the music business. So I had great teachers, starting off with Red Stegall, and then Jerry Kennedy at Polygram Mercury Records, and then managers, Don Williams, Bill Carter, Narvel Blackstock, Clarence Spalding. Every time I got with new people, I learned new things. But every time I would separate from some of those people, I got that gap to where I could do the things I had thought up that they said, no, we don't do it like that. And I said, well, maybe someday we'll get to. And then I would come up with my idea that I wanted to, and I go, that might work. Well, it did. Then I got confidence. And then I started doing more of the things that I wanted to do. Like, I wanted a steel guitar and fiddle on my music instead of an orchestra. And then I started looking for my own songs and going to the publishing companies and finding my own material to sing. So it was baby steps in every aspect. So it wasn't a big overnight success. It wasn't one thing that really made the difference. It was a lot of things that made the difference.
And you were determined. You had talent, of course, but you were determined. And I think not just in music, but in any field, you have to have a little bit of both. There are a lot of talented people who don't make it where you are right now. They might be singing on Lower Broadway tonight or something. They're great. So what kept you going through those obstacles?
Curiosity. faith, especially in the hard times, the bad times, the sad times, my faith, and just thinking, what more can we do? What else can we do? How can we do it differently? I've watched, I studied, and I saw what people did right and I saw what people did wrong. But the number one thing that really, no, I'm not the best singer. I'm not the best entertainer, but I try hard. It's like when I went to basketball camp all those years, they would say, well, are you a pretty good ball player? I said, nope. But I volunteer. I'm the first. If the coach says, I need to volunteer, my hand was up, my heartbeat. Coaches love volunteers, and they like people with try. I try harder.
Did you ever have a moment on this climb where you thought, maybe this isn't going to happen for me? Maybe this town's too tough, or they don't get me, or whatever it is. Did you ever have a moment where you said, I think I'm going to go home to Oklahoma and figure something else out?
No.
Never?
No. I was complaining one time to my cousin, Paula, and she said, well, if you don't like it, why don't you just quit? And I'm like, what are you talking about? No, I'm just venting. I'm not complaining like I want to quit and it's awful. It's just kind of complaining.
So then what's the break for you? I mean, people point to different songs and your first number one or whatever it is. What was the moment where you felt like, okay, I'm here now. Now let's build it from this place. When did you feel like you had arrived in Nashville?
On the album, Whoever's in New England. My first gold album.
Yeah.
First video. So it got me into acting a little bit. And so that little itch was there for a while. When I finally got to do the videos, I saw, oh, I like this. And then I wanted to do a movie. So it just kind of broadened the horizon. Success does that.
And that was an anthem, that song. And you've gone on to sing many anthems. Do you think about that when you write a song? The thing I'm saying, I know is on the minds of a whole bunch of other people too.
Well, that's what I think when I hear those songs. I didn't write them. So when I'm going out to the publishing companies and looking for songs, I like a song. When it hits me and I want to hear the whole song over and over and over again, that's the one I want to record because I love it. And I also, when I hear a song, I'm going, ooh, they can relate to that. I can relate to that. You'll be able to relate to that. And that's what makes a hit song. Everybody listening going, I relate to it because of my story.
I think you could say that about almost every one of your songs. And you're right. That's what makes a great song.
Yeah.
The videos, you were sort of pioneering in that way. They were very important to you. What did you see in those early days of music videos that you knew might help your music along as well?
Well, when I sing a song, I have a video going in my head for me. And so I thought, if we can do more videos, that will let the audience, when they hear the song, they may have a video in their brain too. But let's give them one. And every time they hear the song, they will see that video in their mind. And it just was another avenue of getting my face with the song out in front of the public. Put it all together.
Which then turns into a screen career.
Yeah.
Doing movies. You get a hit sitcom, Reba.
Yeah.
Get nominated for a Golden Globe Award. You play Annie Oakley on Broadway. At what point did you decide, like, music's going well, let's try some of this other stuff too? Because that could have been seen as you're stepping away from music, or you've turned your attention elsewhere.
Yeah.
Why did you want to do all that stuff?
Well, Mom always said I have the attention span of a 2-year-old. So I have to have different things. I do something so long, do the same thing, I get bored. And then to be able to go from acting back to music, or go on a vacation, get your batteries recharged, and go right back into singing, do a tour, and then have an acting job. It just kept it mixed up for me. And that keeps my creative juices and my attention span all satisfied.
I mean, with the show, with Reba, everyone knew you and loved you, but there's no guarantee it's all going to work. It's a totally different thing for you.
Yeah.
You must have been so pleasantly surprised by the response, the long run, the award nominations, all that.
Yeah.
That
Thrilled.
must have been a cool time for you.
I think people took me more seriously after I did Annie Get Your Gun.
Yeah.
Cher one time said, if you do Broadway, they look at you different. I think they respected me, although I'd never done a play before, and I hadn't acted that much except for videos. And then I did Tremors in 89, came out in 90. And it just kind of gave me a little bit more, I don't know, power or credentials. And people thought, well, she did that, she could do a sitcom. And I'll never forget getting Chris Rich, who played my ex-husband, over in the kitchen part, and I'd say, what do they mean when they say so-and-so? He said, okay, what we're going to do is, and that's what I had to have is help. I didn't know anything about that business.
Kind of faking your way through it a little bit.
I did. Smoking bells and whistles.
Well, you fooled them all. You did pretty well with it.
Thanks.
Hey, guys, thanks for listening to the Sunday Sit Down podcast. Stick around to hear more from Reba McEntire right after the break.
Hey everybody, it's Hoda Kotb
and Jenna Bush Hager.
and we got big news, y'all. Our show is now a podcast.
That's right. You can take us anywhere you go, in your car, to the gym, even just at home on your own couch with a glass of
We
wine.
like spending time with each other, and now we love that we can spend even more time with you. Are you sick of us yet?
Don't be, because you can never have to miss a moment of fun, laughs, or friendship.
Yeah, subscribe. Listen to Today with Hoda and Jenna wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back. Now, more of my conversation with Reba McEntire. What do you think about the term icon or legend or trailblazer? When you hear those things, they're all true. What do they mean to you when you hear those? Because those are terms people use when they talk about you.
Oh, well, when I hear those words, I think Loretta Lynn, Dolly Parton, Tammy Wynette, Barbara Mandrell, Anne Murray, Minnie Pearl. All of those women are the pioneers, the icons, the legends that I got to learn from.
But there are a whole bunch of young artists in Nashville. You are that person for them. Is that a cool feeling?
It's a cool feeling. It's a huge responsibility because I definitely want to, in my span that I get to do this, I want to find ways of doing it better so it'll make it easier on them. Then it's their responsibility to move forward, find a better way of doing something for the people coming up next behind them. So we've all got responsibilities, and it's always to make it better. Daddy always said, if you lease a place to run cattle on, always leave it better than the way you found it. So that's what we have to do in the music business.
Well, you've done that and then some.
Thank you.
And the country music business is a completely different place from the 1970s and early 80s when you were fighting your way up than it is today.
Yeah.
Do you see that progress with these young artists, that the doors have opened in ways that they weren't opening for you?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, back when I got started, the advice from people was sing everywhere you can because you don't know who's going to be in the audience that could help you. Well, it did happen to me with Red Steagall. And whether you're singing at honky-tonks, dance halls, bars, rodeos, no matter where it is, there's going to be somebody there that could possibly take an interest in you and help you on your next step of the journey. That's very important. But yeah, it's totally different now. I mean, if you have a hit TikTok,
Yeah.
you're an overnight sensation with so many people seeing you. We didn't have that back in the 70s. You'd have to play 1 billion places to make up for the same amount of people who can see you on one TikTok.
Do you miss putting out albums? People kind of pop out singles here and there. I mean, I know you do, but a lot that the business is clearly different, right? Shoot something out, get a single out there.
Yeah, I like the albums.
Yeah.
I like the physical vinyl. That's what's so neat about Not So Fancy is you're going to have a CD, you're going to have a physical LP that you can hold in your hand and put on a turntable, and then also you can stream it. So we're still like the materialistic way of doing it instead of just pushing a button and hearing it for a while. I like to hold it and touch it.
And you get to tell a story over 10 or 15 tracks or whatever.
Yes.
Your fans are, I guess, diverse is the word. You just span so many different groups of people, some who might not think, oh, they're country fans. Is that a point of pride for you that your audience is so wide?
Yes. Very grateful. Very thankful. And people who I wouldn't think would be fans and know my music, I love to be surprised by that. And I get that a lot. I get a lot of surprises. And that's a good thing.
We live in such sort of divided times, and there are a handful of people we all agree on. And I think you're one of them.
Oh,
so
thank you.
Think when I said I'm going to go talk to Reba today, it doesn't matter who they are. Oh, we love Reba. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
One thing we all can agree on. So we've talked about the range and diversity of the things you've done in your career, which raises the question, what else is out there? I mean, I can't think of anything you haven't done, but surely you're pondering your next move. Is there something you have not done professionally that you want to do?
Well, just like this year, people would have said, what do you want to do? I couldn't even think up, I want to do Madison Square Garden. I want to do the Hollywood Bowl. So thank God they booked us here and we got to do it. Doug Sizemore's my musical director and my band leader. He's been with me for 31 years. How great it is to wind up a tour like that. So what do we want to do? I've never been the person to think it up so much as to do it. Somebody else thinks it up, I'll go do it gladly. Sometimes I get a good idea, but I've always let God take that position. When I'm ready, he'll know when I'm ready, and he'll kind of pave the way and have it ready for me.
Just ready for anything.
Yeah.
I love that. Stick around for more of my conversation with Reba McEntire right after a quick break.
Chief White House correspondent Kristen Welker joins me now.
From across the nation
What is the number one issue for you?
to the national stage,
And I welcome you to the final 2020 presidential debate.
when critical votes were counted
Still too close to call.
and when power was held to account,
Is abuse of power an impeachable offense?
Kristen Welker met the moment. Now she joins Meet the Press as its new moderator.
If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
Sundays on NBC.
Welcome back now to the rest of my conversation with Reba McEntire. Got to ask you about Reba's place,
Yeah.
the restaurant. How
Yeah.
cool is that?
It's
To go back
dang
to your
cool.
home
Yeah.
county and have your own place where you were roping cattle as a little girl. It's got to be amazing.
It's fun. I didn't want to do a restaurant, that's hard.
Yeah.
It was the way they presented it to me. It'll revitalize the town. Atoka's between Tulsa and Dallas. It's right on Highway 6975. Sleepy little town. And the restaurant's right off that main road. And so I partnered up with the Choctaw Nation. Great partners. I've played their casinos before a lot. And the town was behind it. If the town hadn't been behind it, it would have been a no-brainer pass. But everybody was behind it. It has helped the whole town. Everybody's kind of cleaning up, sprucing up, painting, and it's just been wonderful. And we're continuing to see other ways outside of the restaurant to help the town, whether it's with helping kids coming out of foster care, the homeless, or single moms that don't have a place to go or a great place to live. We're going outside of the restaurant to see what else we can do. Yeah. And that's not me by myself. I mean, that's the whole town. They're saying, what more can we do?
And what a blessing to be able to do something like that for a
It's
place
fun.
you love so much.
Yeah. It's a blessing. It's very gratifying. You get to thinking, that's why I'm here. I thought it was just a saying. Nope. It's to help people.
Well said. I think I couldn't say it any better myself. Well, I think we should maybe go grab one of those red Solo cups and throw some cornhole.
Okay.
I've seen what you've said in the book. I'm ready for you.
Have you warmed up today?
I have not. I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried.
I got an advantage over you. I had him set up in the hotel room, my cornhole game that I travel with.
Stretching out a little bit.
I did. On my stretches and,
This is the off season for me. I'm usually a summer player, so
Okay.
you caught me at my worst. So see, I'm sandbagging a little bit. We'll see. All right, let's do it. After that conversation, as you can hear, Reba and I did hop up, play a little bit of cornhole. Let's just say I held my own against the country music icon. She's really good, though. I think what was missing for both of us was the actual red Solo cup she's talking about there. You've got to be holding a drink to throw your best cornhole. My big thanks again to Reba for spending some time with me. My thanks to all of you, as always, for listening. If you want to hear more of these conversations with my guests every week, be sure to click follow so you never miss an episode. And don't forget to tune in to Sunday Today every weekend on NBC. I'm Willie Geist. We'll see you right back here next week.